Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. We are continuing our 2025 rookie scouting series here on the channel. And today we are going to discuss Jayden Higgins, Iowa State wide receiver, one of the top wide receivers headed to the NFL draft. Going to be joined by Jason DiRienzo, my podcast co-host. And we're going to break it all down like we have for the rest of the rookies on this channel. We're going to go over his PFF grades. We are going to discuss what we saw watching the All-22 film, his strengths and weaknesses. We're going to give you our scouting report card grades, some comps, draft capital expectations, and more. So thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you've been a long-term subscriber, welcome back. Hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 17,000 subscribers by the draft. I got 2.5 weeks and I'm down 200 people. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, help me get there. Do me a favor and do that. All right, let's not waste any more time. Enjoy the show. All right, Jason, let's go with our first rookie scouting report for the evening and talk about Mr. Jayden Higgins. All right, now on this YouTube channel, I dropped a film breakdown on him, kind of showcasing two of his games, showing all of the skills and traits that we see that we're going to discuss tonight in his scouting report. 6'4", 214-pound senior wide receiver. Okay, we're going to go over his 2024 production, some stats, strengths and weaknesses, a scouting report card. You guys watching on YouTube, you can see that on the screen. 2024 production, 1,000 yards, 9 TDs, catch percentage and yards per reception, 66.7. His average catch depth was 13.4. Now, the percentages and ranks that you see on the scouting cards are based on the top 30 wide receivers going to the NFL draft. All right, so we're going to see how he stacks up against the class. He got the best PFF receiving grade of all the wide receivers, man, in 2024 at 90.1. His contested catch percentage, 52.4. He ranked 13th in the class, about midway. Yards after catch per reception, 4. He ranked 24th, so he was not great with the ball and the yak, although I think he has the ability to create space in the second level. Yards per route run for all you analytical watchers and listeners out there, 2.61, ranked 13th in the class. Drop percentage, 2.4%. Ranked 6th. So we watched the film, Jason. We were watching him for playing Debian C2C formats. We've been watching this guy for quite a few years. So what do you see when we watch the film and the scouting report?
Honestly, he's a lot more versatile than I expected. Out of the slot and out wide, like he can kind of just be all over the offensive line. And at that size, that's going to be very beneficial to him to no matter what system he goes to. So that's going to help a lot. I also think he's phenomenal as a quarterback friendly type of receiver. So what I mean by that, I think is he's got a nice release package, very fluid off the line of scrimmage, uses hands with a swim or swipe and manipulative with his hips, which again is pretty impressive for a taller, lengthy receiver. And when I say quarterback friendly on hitch routes and drag routes and comeback routes, like he's pretty quick within his movement mechanics to change direction. Sometimes his feet will kind of tapper as he's trying to change direction, but I also saw him get really low and pivot and quickly turn back to the ball. And even when the route was breaking down, he was coming back to make sure he was available for his quarterback. And Beck didn't do too great of a job at times of getting Higgins the ball, but I think he did a phenomenal job as far as just becoming available, understanding the route itself. I think in breaking and out breaking routes, he's pretty fluid as a natural separator. Going up and get the ball, he forms the diamond hands, catching outside of his frame. I mean, it looks very natural as a contested catcher. The only thing that I had concerns about was when he did get the ball, getting yards after the catch, he was kind of getting dragged down pretty early as far as being wrapped up at his knees or his ankles. So I want to see a little bit more fight. I think he's actually more of a finesse guy after the catch than a physical receiver, which is kind of interesting to say about a bigger receiver, but he's actually just more elusive than he is physical in those types of situations. And he's got the speed to go downfield. I just didn't get a chance to see it a lot. I know the combine showed that he has that deep speed. I don't think we got a chance to really see what he can do as far as being a deep threat. So that is uncapped part of his game. I think that's going to translate to the next level. The team's going to find a way to use him. But overall, I didn't really have a lot of knocks besides for what I just talked about. I like the route running. I think maybe he's got a bit of a limited route tree, but that will expand once he gets under good coaching. So overall, I think Jayden Higgins can be the full package. I don't. As a wide receiver one, can he be? It's possible, but I think he's just definitely more of a solid wide receiver too.
Yeah, I think he's a wide receiver too. I don't think there's any wide receiver ones in this class, to be honest with you. I just I'm concerned about that just in the class itself.
Yeah.
So Jane Higgins, I agree with pretty much everything that you said. I think he's a great route runner, the body control, the boundary awareness. That's
Oh,
these
yeah, that's great.
the bigger receivers are kind of what you're expecting, right? You're going to be looking for the guy that's going to win the physical battles. And I think that's where I have just a little bit of concern with Jayden Higgins. You had kind of touched on it there a little bit coming out of his break in yak yards, maybe going down a little early, is his ability to, with the physicality. Usually receivers that are 6'4" are going to win with physicality. And if you can't win with
Yeah.
physicality at 6'4", then you better win with space creation and route running. And I think he's a good route runner, but I don't think he's
Yeah,
like
he is.
way above average where he might not be able to offset that. But look, he can get bigger and stronger, in the NFL. But just like from watching the film,
Mhm.
I agree with you with the physicality part. The other thing I'd like to see him do a little bit better with as well is his length. At that size, when you go up for those 50-50 balls to really extend and stretch. I felt like a couple times he was kind of waiting for the ball to come to him versus attacking the ball, and
I
being a
think I
little
saw
bit
that in the
more.
Baylor game a little bit.
Yeah, so being a little bit more aggressive in that department. So let's get to our scouting report card
Mhm.
grades. All right. So release and route running, I gave him a B plus. Again, I agree with you with what your assessment was in your scouting report. I think he has, maybe a limited route tree, but I think he has the athleticism to get DBs to, get off platform and use, you know, use his manipulation to get guys off script.
Yeah, I gave him an A. I came away really impressed. I didn't expect him to be that fluid of a movement creator, and just it came kind of natural to him within the separation manipulation. So I give him an A.
Yeah. So ball skills and hands, I gave him a B as well. Decent 66.7 catch percentage on the season. But again, because of that lack of length that I saw, I gave him a B.
Yeah, I give him an A. I like what I saw from that. I think he's only going to get better when he gets to the next level. That length I saw a couple times where he had to contort himself in the back end of the end zone with a defender on him. I can't remember
Mhm.
which game it was. It's there. I just didn't.
Yeah.
I want to see it more consistently. I think the quarterback play kind of played into that.
Hindered a little bit. Acceleration and speed, I gave him a B. I mean, he's not going to be a burner. We're not expecting a guy
Yeah.
who's 6'4" to be a burner. But I gave him a solid B. He's got the speed, I think, to create space in the NFL.
Yeah, we'll agree here. I give him a B as well. I don't think he's a burner, but I mean, is it uncorked potential? Yes, but I don't think that's him, just like you said.
Yards after the catch, I gave him a B as well. He's pretty good at it. He came in pretty close to last in yards after the catch as far as on the season versus the other receivers. But there were glimpses in there where he's got the ability to turn upfield shortly after catching the ball. I don't think he's going to be one of those guys that are going to really be explosive with the ball in his hands, make
Uh,
guys miss, but admirable effort in the yards after catch department.
Yeah, I give him a B plus, but I think I'm gonna go with you and copy you on this. I think I'm gonna give him a B after what I saw from the film. I think it's interesting that he's just more elusive after the catch, but a big guy like that should be fighting and have a little bit more tenacity. And I don't think he's got that gear change and acceleration after the catch either.
Yeah, so physicality and strength, I gave him a B minus, only because of the things that you mentioned about physicality. I grade that. That's a big part of
Mhm.
what I look for. And I've been a Jaden Higgins fan. You know that. I was talking about this guy months ago when I did that film review on our podcast as well. But I don't know. I just a little concerned about his physicality to win physical one-on-one battles with these NFL DBs. I think he has the potential, but I think it's going to take a little time for him to develop.
Yeah, I give him a B plus. It was more that, like I said, the yak part of it. But when I saw him boxing out receivers and making contested catches and making contortion adjustments, I mean, I was pretty impressed with that. He's just going to have to get more physical to fight off and gain yards after the catch.
So I think he's a day two selection as far as draft capital is concerned. Would you think he's a day two guy?
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Okay. My comp for him is Cedric Tillman. All right. I was a huge fan of Cedric
Yeah.
Tillman, and I was so disappointed. I think he got a concussion this year on the Browns and started to emerge, and then he kind of disappeared. So I think that's the kind of route that Jayden Higgins is going to take. Cedric Tillman, had to wait a couple years before he gets his opportunity. And I think Jayden Higgins is going to follow that path. Similar players, I like them both very much going into the draft.
Yeah, I have Nico Collins. I mean, I like the
Ooh.
fight in the air that he has, and I think he does really well as far as a route runner, manipulation. That yak ability is definitely going to be something he needs to work on. I think that's where Nico's a little bit better. But the above the rim ability and just, having that savviness to understand where the ball is in the air and to understanding the pursuit angles of the defenders, I think he's only going to develop that a little bit further. So I think the upside can be Nico Collins at the next level.
Yeah, Nico Collins didn't emerge for what, 2 years maybe? Same
2
kind of
2 years,
thing.
yeah,
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 again,
same
now,
kinda thing, so
so you never know how these guys can develop. So,
right.
Jayden Higgins, where is he on your big board? You want me to look for you?
I have Higgins at wide receiver 8 right now. Honestly, I liked him a little bit better than I like Trey Harris, so I might flip those 2. He might end up at 6 for me.
Yeah, I got him at number 6, 7, 8 right now. So,
Okay, so we got a
um,
match right now.
yeah,
Yep.
so pretty close. The top 10 receiver in the draft, right? I
Top 10
mean,
receiver
so
for sure. Yeah.
and once we get our all coveted landing spot in draft capital, things might change a little bit. So there you guys
Maybe.
go. There
Yeah.
is our scouting report on Mr. Jayden Higgins.